Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon, so you never miss any new updates, cause whenever we upload new videos.
To recoup, there's no time to lick our wounds. Saubhagya is moving in for the next hit now for Dark Tangent. He's got a Yeti Smash army with 3 witches to go the distance, a jump spell added on top for a base that's really spread out, lots of walls separating the innards here, but once you kind of crack through that one layer, if he drops that jump spell maybe near where that Barbarian King plinth is, he should have access to a lot of this base. He's going for that Grand Warden walk early on here as well, so that's going to be an easy chunk out of the left side. Great funneling done by Saubhagya on the first stage of this attack, Judo.
An interesting base for sure, with the scatter shot central in the base to mean it is difficult to get to. No lightning value around there, but he managed to take down the single target Inferno, a couple of other defenses, and that also means for his Grand Warden walk, he is safe. He can take his time, set up the funnel, and now we see the supporting Yetis come through to draw the Grand Warden up to the top of the base. And look at the sneaky goblins, Woody. They are so quick to set up the funnel, taking out the resource building and driving the Yetis in towards the town hall with the wall wrecker there to support.
No poison spell with this attack, and it looks like Saubhagya is going to do it the old-fashioned way, tearing through these CC troops with a massive army, but the Archer Queen forced to pop that ability early is going to be a big letdown. He was hoping that the rest of the troops would be out in front to block for her. Now she's really low, and with an Eagle Artillery firing away at the entire clump, that's going to require an Eternal Tome to protect as they path their way over that Giga Bomb. Town Hall goes down for the first star, and Saubhagya is about to grab the second, but this is still a lot of damage raining down on the Rage.
This sure is, Woody, but the healers are stuck on the Queen because she took so much damage. That has left the Yetis and bowlers vulnerable, and there they go. They are down. In a Yeti Smash attack, you need your healers on the Yetis. They stuck with the Queen at the back, and unfortunately, that left his attack vulnerable, but he's managed to get the center of the base, and with the Royal Champion's ability, he could still sneak this one.
A freeze to end all freezes. The blizzard of the year by Saubhagya shut down the Eagle Artillery and the 1-point defense firing away at the Archer Queen long enough for her to get her job done. This is still a big army along the bottom side of the base cruising through what looks like defenses that have cracked and fallen. Saubhagya has done it. This is looking like our first triple, Judo.
3 stars all day long, Woody. The King has his ability. 30 seconds on the clock. No time fail for this attack. Dark Tangent take the lead, and it will be Indian Clashers that now have to respond.
Knocked it out for a triple, and that puts Dark Tangent far and ahead. The only 3-star we've seen so far this war, and really forces Saleem into a tricky pickle.
While Saleem was instantly in there, Woody. There was no time in between the matches. He went into attack as straight away as the 3-star came in. He is ready to respond. His plan is set, and let's see if he can execute it. The Queen charge is gently taking away the left-hand side of the base with the Yeti and the Baby Dragon to funnel, and this will allow the Queen alongside a beautifully timed Super Wall Breaker directly into the Town Hall, but it looks like with 2 extra Super Wall Breakers, he wants her to go even further.
Great timing on that freeze spell as well. Right when that single target Inferno was heating up the most, he shut it down and gave that Archer Queen another shot at glory, finishing off that Town Hall and now engaging both the CC and the Royal Champion at the same time. Poison spell is perfectly placed and a freeze right on top. It really seems the CC meta has always forced players to include an Inferno Dragon there just to require attackers to bring that extra freeze to shut it down, Judo.
Exactly, and what that does is make sure that you don't have that for the regular army. I know it sounds little, but his single spell is often the difference maker. Having said that, he has used a lot of spells on this queen, Woody. She is clinging on with a rage spell, has to use the ability, multiple expos raining fire onto her. She's struggling to get through, but if she can get the Eagle Artillery, that is his target. She's going down fast. She's onto it. Can she get the Eagle to help the Hogs and Miners as they come through?
No!
She doesn't.
Failure for the Archer Queen, and her mission will go unnoticed. Saleem's army is getting a ton of damage dumped on because that Eagle Artillery is still up. Another salvo fires away before the Hog Riders finally make their way toward the Eagle, knocking it down, but at what cost? This is going to be a really tricky race to the finish. A Grand Warden Eternal Tome protects them from some additional splash damage, but those two scatter shots in the bottom compartment are going to be a really big bite to handle.
Indeed they are, Woody. He does have a couple of miners onto the remaining scatter shot, but what I believe is he must have came in towards the single target Infernos to try and protect the Royal Champion to the end. Normally you would take out the major defenses first, being these scatter shots, so I am surprised that he didn't draw the Hogs and Miners in direct to the 6 o'clock area where the scatter shots were. I was focused on the Queen, didn't quite see what was up to the top of the base, but either way, it's a great percentage, but it's just not going to be enough for the Indian Clashers to respond.
Another heartbreaking time fail for Saleem this time around. It looks like the King and Grand Warden might have even had enough oomph to deal the damage to this base, but running out of time, it's going to tick away at a 2-star, 92% once again.
Yes, another.
Try and help with the amount of splash damage that comes down from the Eagle Artillery. Now it is PIYUSH who is the MVP of Dark Tangent, basically, Woody. And if they get a 3-star, they will really put Indian Clashers on the back pedal.
Low and steady start for PIYUSH, one of the greatest attackers for Dark Tangent. He's picked up triples time and again. I thought he was a perfect hitter, actually, but I made a little mistake yesterday when we were casting Judo. He actually got a 2-star, 99%. But PIYUSH from Dark Tangent is going to be looking for another one here and now, going to shut out the Indian Clashers if they get a final triple on the board. They're so far ahead in percentage right now that it's just a race for stars. And with Indian Clashers behind by one of them, it looks like PIYUSH could have the last say here in this war, still with 2 attacks remaining from their opponents.
Indeed he could, and let's be honest, 2 3-stars and a 99%. That is a pretty good record. Let's see if he can continue that. He's coming in with his Drag Loon attack strategy, almost the signature move of Dark Tangent. We've seen it multiple times. You can notice the one dragon across to the right-hand side of the base. Often we do see them use an Electro Dragon to try and thin out that area, but now we see the traditional dragons flying direct into the town hall. If you can take that down early on, you don't have to worry about it doing massive damage onto your dragons if it is activated later on in the raid.
This is just one dragon with that Eternal Tome, but the big part of the army has been well protected. Single target Inferno heating up on a poor Archer Queen. Will she wander out of range? No, it's going to require a free spell to keep her safe. All the dragons are stacked up on top of each other, though, and that's looking a little bit dicey here for PIYUSH.
Oh, I'm so surprised he didn't press the King's ability to try and draw the Queen in towards the single. He gets fortunate with a couple of the dragons moving across and taking it down, but with an Ice Golem looming, is this going to be danger for Dark Tangent? When the Ice Golem is popped on defense, it will freeze his troops. Fortunately, the Royal Champion is out of range and might be able to reach the back end air defense, Woody.
That is a super unfortunate CC for PIYUSH to run up against now. Freezing a pack of dragons that are already pretty slow are not what you want to see at all. We've seen the Royal Champion ability already used here, and with no healers to boost up these heroes, this is as much as they're going to get. That Eagle Artillery firing away throughout the entirety of the raid and finally going down, but at what cost? PIYUSH has made it to the backside of the base, but there's still too many defensive structures up. This Grand Warden doing his best to boost the remaining troops, but they are all down now, and it's a solo mission for him, racking up as much percentage destruction as he can, Judo.
That's all he can do at this point. Drive up the percentage. Dark Tangent are already significantly ahead of Indian Clashes. So even if Indian Clashes were to get the 3-star and level it up on stars, they also need to catch the percentage. So as long as Dark Tangent keep the percentage high, it means they are pushing Indian Clashes to need 2 3-stars from their remaining 2 attacks in order to win this war. We know they have the caliber of multiple 3-stars. They beat Tribe Gaming yesterday 12 to 12 stars, so we will have to see whether they can respond with their next
fails their next attack and they get 2 triples. They've got to start here and now. There's no time to waste. DRAK will be the next hitter for the Indian Clashers, and true to his name, he's brought 8 dragons and an Electro Dragon to back it up. Little baby waiting in tow as well, but let's see how he starts things off. Expecting maybe some Sui heroes on the bottom to try to grab an air defense and maybe even go for that enemy royal champion. Looks like he's going to be starting off with a Barbarian King and an Ice Golem to block for this Queen as well.
Yeah, set the funnel for the Queen to come directly into that base. A beautiful move. And DRAK was actually one of the players that did get a 3-star yesterday against Tribe Gaming. So he's obviously hunting for the same. But it's really interesting that you mentioned, Woody, they will be relying on the defense from Dark Tangent. So this one really does come down to the final attacks. But let's see whether DRAK can get the 3-star on this one first. The Queen's ability pops rather early, Woody. I think he wants the multi-target Inferno here, but she's walked around, and I'm not sure she's going to get it. She doesn't. What does he do to take down that multi-target Inferno tower?
That Queen just took so much damage. The King wandering out of range, not protecting her from that Royal Champion. Bad news for DRAK, but he might still be able to recover this here, salvaging that operation in the bottom corner with an Electro Dragon. But the CC troops are coming out, and that is not what an Electro Dragon wants to deal with. It does not have splash damage. Instead, it chains damage onto enemy targets. But while that's happening, it's going to be heated up by that multi-target Inferno. Oh no, a missed rage spell is going to deny it access to that bottom compartment, and it's going to die to just pitiful little archers.
Oh, you can see the shadow underneath the Electro Dragon. That is where you need to drop the rage. Such a critical mistake here. Will it be costly? Because he needs rage spells for the dragons. They move through the base. They do get the town hall with the sneaky goblins inside the battle blimp. Here come the bats. They have to get through this base, but a multi-target Inferno on the back could be the difference maker. They are charging on forward ahead of the dragons, and he only has 1 free spell left with multiple splash damages, Woody.
I can't imagine DRAK spending so much to try to deal with that multi-target Inferno and still coming up short. Another dragon burnt apart by that massive defensive structure. Great job to Professor baiting out that big investment by DRAK on the bottom side here. Dark Tangent's defenses hold on, and that's really going to put a damper on their enemies parade here. Indian Clashers charging through, but unable to make it happen. Coming up short again and again with yet another 2-star, finding that 3 just out of reach.
Indeed, and let's remember, Championship Sunday means if you lose, you go home. So Indian Clashers really on the back pedal. They are counting on Dark Tangent.
I think we've only had 1 1-star so far this month, and to see a second would be a big upset from a team that's made it this far. Professor from Dark Tangent is not one to disappoint. He came in hot yesterday, grabbing a 2-star, 70% against Existence, but then backing it up with a triple right afterwards against Nova Imperium, advancing his team on. He was perhaps the clutch hitter for this squad, and we don't expect to see him, we don't expect him to let us down again.
No, we do not. He was the attacker that had everything on him. He gave Dark Tangent the opportunity to battle again today, getting the 3-star against Nova Imperium, as you mentioned, and the Super Witches we seen earlier on in this war. And if he were to get a similar attack, which is a high percentage 2-star, even if it was a time fail, with that high of a percentage, it would put the war out of reach for Indian Clashers. He does have a quite lengthy Grand Warden walk, again, Woody, as we've seen with the other attack, but he's just making sure 100% that the Super Witches go to that town hall and he doesn't miss the 2-stars.
This requires a huge amount of concentration to pull off effectively, attacking from multiple angles with a Warden walk, the Siege Barracks down, a Barbarian King out in front of these other heroes and the Super Witches. The healers have now swapped over onto the Super Witches exactly as Professor would hope to keep them topped off and healthy with so much splash damage raining down on them. This is a perfect entry for the attack and a great opportunity to finish it out right here. If Dark Tangent get the triple, they are going to the Grand Finals, Judo.
They sure are, but there's not a lot of troops on the town hall, Woody. He uses the rage onto just a couple of Yetis to make sure it goes down. There is the first star. The Super Witches move on to the center of the base, and with only splash damage, no single target infernos, it means the big boys are well protected, and he waits patiently on the Royal Champion to make sure he can deploy it from the correct area of the base. Here she comes from the right-hand side. No single target infernos to take her down either, so he's onto a good attack here. He's 1% away from the 50%, which is the second star. And we can presume if the attack were to continue, he will indeed get it. The attack will continue. He's already deployed his troops, even if, unfortunately, he's lost connection towards the end of the attack. This one would play out and hopefully give Dark Tangent the win.
That's right. They're almost guaranteed to get a 2-star with the way things are shaped up here. So even if we only count it as a 50%, Dark Tangent are going to have a very impressive lead over the Indian Clashers. I'm running the numbers right now, and it looks like even if we just call it a 50% hit here, that would bring their total percentage destruction to 85.04. So that would actually be a pretty significant hit and leave an opportunity for the Indian Clashers to come back. But I think it's got to be higher than 50%. As the attack continues now, we'll get a chance to see how this thing is going to finish up.
Yeah, exactly. Even if he can't use the abilities or deploy any more troops, he does have a healer onto the big boys. So let's see how the attack plays out. We can presume he's lost connection here, Woody, and we just need the percentage higher and higher. We can see on the screen that it continues. The attack finishes, and it's 89.8% total destruction for Dark Tangent. Now, with the mathematics, I'm not too sure, Woody. Would Indian Clashers be able to catch up here? I guess we'll have to find out.
No, they cannot. Even with a triple, that would only put them up to 87.36%. So it seems like Dark Tangent have done enough to shut them out. It looks like they'll be going to the Grand Finals.
They sure will be. They can celebrate. They do not have to worry at this point. They need to fix things before the Grand Finals. We will find out who they are going up against. It is going to be either Existence or Tribe Gaming, but Indian Clashers will want to give themselves a 3-star here. Like you said, Woody, brother versus brother.
Here for the Indian Clashers to put an exclamation point on a fantastic semifinal match. This brother versus brother showdown is finishing off finally with the Dark Tangent squad moving on.
Well, I was able, Woody, to interview both of these teams on the COC Esports Twitter page, and they were asked what would happen if you faced each other, and they all said it would be a fun match. And let's remember, Clash of Clans is there to be enjoyed as well, so I really hope that both teams have had a fantastic day. Now, unfortunately, confirmation is in. Indian Clashers, as you mentioned, cannot catch up. It will be Dark Tangent moving forward, but let's see if Serial Killer can indeed get that 3-star.
It's all about bragging rights right now, swagging through on a base that has got no hopes for advancement. Serial Killer will still move in with precision to try to execute the plan that he had laid out in case this would have been the clutch moment to get through. He's cracking through multiple compartments with those super wall breakers and showing us a masterclass in Archer Queen charges. She ought to be able to even make it onto that enemy Royal Champion and possibly the scatter shot as well. A balloon right on top is actually taking no fire at all, tearing it down and giving Serial Killer a beautiful entry into this really spread out base.
They can showcase their class, Woody. We know how good the Indian Clashers are. They have put on one fantastic performance throughout this competition, and at least they can cheer on their counterparts, Dark Tangent. We know how good this clan family is, and this attack is testimony to that. Look at this queen charge. As you mentioned, the inside of the base is gone, and the lava loon is only just beginning from the top area of the base.
Imagine putting your Eagle artillery in the very center of the base, protecting it with 3 layers of walls, and then still seeing it torn apart by just a queen charge. She knocked out that bottom corner, and with just a little bit more help from the Royal Champion, finished off the right side to give Serial Killer an easy entry to that last line of defense here. A multi-target Inferno will start to burn up these balloons, but with the Eternal Tome, Serial Killer has done it. This looks far and away a 3-star opportunity for the Indian Clashers. What a showing from the subcontinent in this September qualifier. They have really come over the top and impressed a lot of new fans out there, knocking apart Nova Imperium and Tribe Gaming on their way to that grand finals position. They've got as good a chance as anyone to grab the golden ticket this month.
They do indeed. Serial Killer managing to close out the first semi-final match with a triple. Going out in style, Dark Tangent will be progressing into today.